Hi, thank you for purchasing the MCRL700 3D microscope from Microcubic. This video tutorial will guide you through all the steps required for the initial setup and storage. Please refer to the PDF user manual and other video tutorials for more details on the operating instructions. Let's get started. First, open the hard case and remove the packing material used during the transportation. Then, remove the smaller components like the accessory bag, the USB cable, the joystick controller, and the power supply with its multiple country-specific adapters. Then, carefully take out the camera module and the curved light source. Remove any additional packing material. Hold the main body with the tilting module from this location and lift it. Note that the warranty document with the quick user guide is located under the foam padding. Now, place the main body on a flat surface. The accessory bag includes multiple sample chucks, illumination sources, a microscope calibration slide, cable organizers, adapters, screws, and a screwdriver. You can use this multi-tip screwdriver for all hardware adjustments. Here is the electrical connection diagram. There are, in total, 3 USB cables, one for power input and 2 others for data communication and camera connection, which both need to be connected to a computer. First, connect the power adapter's USB cable to the port labeled as 5 volt, then connect the data cable to the microscope and the computer. Power the system using the provided power supply. The blue lights of the connected modules should turn on immediately. Go to the Windows Device Manager and check the ports. USB serial CH340 device should be listed there. If not, install the USB serial driver available in the software package. Then, install and run the provided MCRL viewer software that is used to control the microscope and capture images and videos. The first thing you will notice in the software is the pop-up window with welcome tips. You can navigate through the different help pages using the next and previous buttons. This space will also be used for announcements, so make sure to check them briefly when you start the software. Please also check the help menu with direct links to our YouTube page and other resources. Also note that each section of the software has a dedicated information button that provides useful tips and instructions. If you notice that the text and icons in the software appear disorganized, it is likely because the software is optimized for full HD screen resolution at 100% scaling. To adjust your settings, right-click on the Windows desktop, open the display settings, and set your resolution to 1920 by 1080 with scaling at 100%. Before proceeding to the next step, ensure the cables are untangled so they do not obscure the motorized movements. Now, select the COM port from the top right corner. This will establish communication with the microscope. Then, open the file named startup.json from the folder called Positions. This should move the tilting module slowly to its upright position. If you observe an issue, stop the motors using the emergency stop button and repeat the process. The next step is connecting the camera unit to the tilting module using 2 thumb screws. Insert the longer screw to the bottom of the module and the shorter one to the side. These screws should easily slide along the channels. Fix the camera module to the tilting arm. You can adjust its position manually depending on the imaging mode and the sample type, and then use motorized actuators for precise focus and zoom adjustments. It's essential to guide the camera's USB cable through the holder on the side of the tilting module so that it does not affect motorized movements. Note that the holder design can differ slightly depending on the microscope version. You can then use the provided cable spiral to bind all 3 USB cables together. Allow enough cable length for the camera cable, considering that the camera should be able to tilt from -90 degrees to +90 degrees. Once the camera unit is fixed, you can connect the data cables to 2 linear actuators of the camera. Note that the system does not have a specific cable assignment. Any cable can be connected to any module because each module has a unique digital ID. The final cable arrangement for the tilting and camera modules should look like this. Now, it's time to connect the curved illumination, which can be used to illuminate both opaque and transparent samples. For reflected light microscopy, the curved illumination can be fixed to the articulated arm using 2 thumb screws or by insertion. For the transmitted light microscopy, it can be placed under the sample by inserting the rod on its side into the conduit on the tilting module. Then connect the joystick controller. Again, there is no specific cable assignment, but the cable from socket number 10 is conveniently located for the joystick. Finally, the last available cable can be used for additional illumination sources depending on the imaging mode. For example, you can use the ring illumination for imaging non-reflective samples or the close-up illumination for imaging reflective samples using the high zoom lens. Later, depending on the hardware configuration, you can organize the cables using the provided cable clips. These clips can be used to bind multiple cables together or fix them to the top or bottom sides of the base. Once the hardware is installed, you can connect the camera's USB cable to the computer. On the software, go to the Camera Devices drop-down menu and select the camera. After the camera preview appears, you can go to the camera options to change the camera settings. We recommend enabling auto exposure and auto white balance for most imaging situations. When the microscope is first assembled, or initialization is needed, use the Home button on the software to move all actuators to their home positions. You should see the actual positions of the actuators from this window. If a module shows NA, check its cable connection. If it shows a question mark, home that module by pressing on the corresponding letter. Then you can check the settings menu to change the image format and other settings. To include the scale bar on capture images and videos, you need to import your microscope's lens calibration data, which will be provided to you by email. The file needs to be imported only once during the first setup. Then, go to the scale bar drop-down menu and select the lens. The microscope is shipped with lens 1, which is already attached to the camera. The additional objective lenses are stored on the tilting module. There are a total of 3 objective lenses. These lenses have a spring-loaded insertion mechanism, allowing them to be interchanged easily. Illumination sources can be inserted in front of the lens. Other optical components, such as polarizers or filters, can optionally be added using custom-designed holders with the exact mechanism. A manually controlled iris diaphragm is also provided, and it can be placed in front of the lens to adjust the aperture. Please refer to the tutorial on operating instructions for the depth of field adjustments and focus stacking. The clamping of these insertion mechanisms can be adjusted using the provided screwdriver. The system is provided with multiple sample chucks with integrated magnets. Both sides of the chucks can be used. The newer versions also feature a mechanism to adjust sample height. This helps align the sample's image plane with the primary tilting axis and is especially useful for keeping the point of interest centered when imaging samples thicker than several millimeters. If your microscope does not have this feature, you can still center the point of interest by using the secondary tilting axis. Your microscope is now ready to capture remarkable images and videos of your samples. To turn it off, just press the main power switch so that the microscope will save its later settings and go to sleep mode. We recommend closing the software as well, so that the camera goes to the low power mode. You do not need to remove the USB cables afterwards. If you want to put the microscope back in its hard case for transportation or storage, you need to follow more or less the same steps in reverse. We also have a separate video tutorial on storage and transportation on our YouTube channel. Be sure to check out our other video tutorials and the user manual to learn more about the system's operation and different imaging modes. Thanks for watching.